Welcome to this episode of Your Property Business, the video podcasts that help you get the most out of your own property business. In terms of what the main misconceptions are, do you think, of working with a VA? Have you got? We touched on some of the mistakes that people make. Can you explore that a little bit more?
Yeah. So in the early days, well, in fact, one of the reasons why I first started out is, people would come to me in my network. I don't know, you might have been one of them, Chris. I can't remember that far back now. But people would come to me and say, I've tried working with a virtual assistant and it didn't really work out. So I would ask those questions. One of the things that people say is, or said is, well, I had a virtual assistant for a while and everything seemed to be going fine. And then they suddenly disappeared off the face of the earth and I couldn't get hold of them. And I think that, again, that's one of the misconceptions. Or people think, well, they're never going to do it as well as I do or as quick as I can do it. People are obviously overrate how good they are at doing things, especially the sort of things where you're not in your flow. So, it is really important that when you're taking on a virtual assistant, you have a way of delegating the tasks. You're using something like Trello or Asana to keep track of tasks and delegate the tasks and give them all the information that they need and set due by dates and this sort of thing. That you've got a way of letting them to log on to your various different bits of software securely. So, using some password sharing software. So having reports coming back, knowing how to communicate, not some people would say, how do you delegate tasks to your VA? And they say, well, I just ring them up and I tell them what I want done. Well, no, you can't, you've got to have a proper way of doing this and, communicating well, using Zoom, using video, all these sorts of things. Understanding the culture is another big one. If you don't, if you're working with somebody that's thousands of miles away, that's got a completely different culture, then it's really, really important that you understand their culture and that they understand our culture as well. So these are all the sort of things that we give you mentoring and guidance on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, the support that your company gives, I think, is invaluable. And I think it increases the chance of success tenfold, really, because I think you avoid the main mistakes and that are easy to avoid. But unless you know what they are, you don't know to avoid them. So, like you
don't know what you don't know. That's right.
Yeah. Password protection is a classic. Sharing it on email probably not the best way to do it. There are much better solutions out there. But I think it's the hand holding, isn't it, as well? And it's almost like business mentorship. I think that goes along with that. So often, presumably, you're finding the first employee for a business, I suspect, in a lot of instances, and that's no mean feat, really. So I guess there's a lot of support that is needed often for new businesses that you can provide.
Well, yeah, and you said it. I mean, support is our core value. That is the main reason why people come to us, because we will give you every bit of support that you need. And also the virtual assistants that we recruit, we give them support in being the best VA that they can possibly be. We actually give them mentoring on how to be outstanding, because we want our VAs to stand out above everybody else. And every single client gets mentoring on how to avoid those common mistakes. Business mentoring, you just touched on that. How to be a great leader. When you're building a team, you are there to lead that team. So you've got to have leadership skills. So we give you all of that and understanding the culture and how to grow and scale a business.
Yeah, no, that's smashing. I think, and once you start on that track, then there's a moment, a mental shift for me that happened. So I think anything can be then delegated. And I mean, I've not got there. I don't only do strategic work, but I'm on the path of getting to that point. Because you start on that thought process and it's a bit of a game changer. And it's not, every business owner needs to get to that point, I think. At least start on that track. So I'll encourage that. Yeah.
And even as you start to grow and maybe starting new businesses and you start thinking, okay, so who are my business partners that I can joint venture with perhaps? And what are the skills and things that I can do? So for me, it's this sort of thing. It's the marketing, it's talking to people. That's what I'm best at. And what are the things I'm not very good at? And you find somebody else perhaps that you can partner with as a JV partner that's got complementary skills. So you know, nowadays, you know, I've got properties that I've never been to. I've got tenants that I've never met. I don't need to meet tenants because I've got, you know, as well as the outsourced VA team, I've got people here in the UK that can, you know, meet the tenants, do the viewings, check people out, all that sort of stuff. Check, you know, with maintenance work has been done, going around there and making sure that it's all done properly and this sort of thing. So I don't need to do that.
Yeah, brilliant. It's just reminded me of a book actually. I've read before, but I'm listening to this almost the sequel of it. It's by Dan Sullivan, I think it's called, but Who Not How.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if I read it at all, but it's exactly that. So I think the normal reaction is, how do I do that? While it's not a bad question, the better question could be, who can do that for me?
Yeah.
And then once you ask that question, you can keep asking that question and keep asking that question, and then all of a sudden you've you know, leveraged all sorts of things, like other people's knowledge, time, skill, experience, etc. And I think so. Asking who can do this for me, not how do I do this?
And another thing is that you don't always have to pay for it. You know, people like doing people. So if you've got the right sort of people around you, you know, delegate to friends and family as well.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't always have to cost you money.
Okay. Well, I'll give that a go next time. See how I get on.